After someone's died, it can be overwhelming enough as it is, just handling all of the tasks and responsibilities as you try to settle an estate. On top of that, it can sometimes feel like people are speaking a different language. There's so much jargon thrown around and unfamiliar terms that you somehow are expected to know. So in today's video, we're going to break down the top 10 most common words used after a death and what they mean. Our first word is decedent, and that simply means the person who has died. I guess it's just quicker and easier to say decedent instead of the person who has died over and over again, but that's an important one to know. Second word is estate. So when I first heard estate after my husband passed, I thought that meant some kind of fabulous chateau in France. But it is actually the word commonly used to describe everything the person owned and owed at the time of their death. So no fancy chateaus needed here. Our next word is assets, and that's just a catch-all term to encompass all the property that belonged to the decedent. That includes real property, which refers to land, buildings, that kind of thing, and personal property, which would be referring to stocks, investments, vehicles, all that stuff. It's important to understand the word beneficiary because that is the person who is entitled to receive assets under a will or a trust. Next, we kind of have a double header with the words testate and intestate. We're getting into a little bit more kind of legal jargon here, but basically testate just means someone who has died with a valid will, and intestate means someone who died without a valid will. So those are adjectives, so you'll most commonly hear them in a phrase like died intestate. An executor is a person or an entity named in a will who has the responsibility of carrying out the terms of the will. So that means collecting the assets, paying off debts, and distributing the remaining assets to the beneficiaries. Administrator is the word commonly used to refer to the person appointed by the court to be sort of like the executor. So they're responsible for carrying out the business of the person who has died, debts, assets, all of that. But there is no valid will, so the person who is named by the court is the administrator. Probate can sometimes be thrown around kind of like a scary word, but basically all it means is the court process in which the will is determined to be valid and the person's estate is distributed according to that will or the laws of succession in that state. And finally, letters testamentary. Sometimes when you're trying to close an account, you could get asked by an organization for the letters testamentary. This can sometimes be confusing if that's the first time you're hearing those words. It can also be called letter of testamentary, but basically all it is papers issued by the court authorizing the executor to do things like close accounts and manage the affairs of the estate. In the situation where there is no valid will, the similar term is letters of administration. I hope this was helpful if you're serving as executor or administrator of an estate or supporting someone who is. After loss professionals serve as extra set of helping hands, estate project managers, and empathetic detectives to support people going through a tough time after the loss of a loved one. If you'd like to learn more, please visit afterlosspros.com. Thanks for watching.